Most definitely. And I know you guys like performed like live like lots of times like at Bartlett House at like your previous events like for Manifesto and like Honey Gem and all that. So in terms of like performing live, tell me more about that progression in performing live with the events you both or you like individually performed live, and how was like that experience like in diverging in that aspect of music?
Um, I feel like I've always enjoyed live performance. Um, I'm trying to think of like the a peak performance in my brain. Oh, so a couple of years ago, I went to Thailand with my band. I was in a band at the time called Avant-Garde. Shout out to Balon. And yeah, we went to Thailand. We won Battle of the Bands in the Bahamas, which was like that concert, the stage, fog machines, and fucking big ass stage, and like it was just everything. And anyway, we went to Thailand. It was literally like we was living in a movie. And then we get there, and like I feel like obviously like in a place in Thailand, like we gonna stick out like sore thumbs on top of like looking how we looking, like I'm already tall and we walking around with all these fucking instruments or whatever.
Niggas.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, when we get out on the stage, I think there was about maybe I want to say like 5,000 people or something like that in the audience. Like that was probably the biggest audience so far. That and like when they said our name and like we came on a stage and like the people like ah, like you literally feel the like breath of the audience in front of you, and like it just was the funny thing about it that night, like our whole set got like fucked up, but because we were recuperating so well, nobody had a clue, and like that energy, and I feel like that's with any audience though, like that amount of people is a rush, but that exchange you have with your audience where you could feel them like tapping into what you're doing, I feel like that is like, yeah, magic.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm just enjoying performing live. You know, I always had a low key like fear. I could feel the like tremble in my voice and all that kind of stuff. And now that doesn't happen anymore. Thank God. But so for a long time it just was like really hard for me. But I loved it at the same time. Like I really, really enjoyed every single performance I've had. Big crowds, small crowds were definitely scarier. I've done like Pickering Stars, which is like a little small competition out of Pickering, and you know, have being in choirs and all kind of stuff. So it's been great. It's been great. Performing live is amazing. I love it now. Being able to connect with the audience, like it's way better than Instagram. You can't beat that. Actually meeting people on the street, you know, like today, like running into people, to them knowing who we are, you know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. You know, face to face, and I feel like we've met most of our followers. Like, they've been to our shows. We've shook hands,
connected,
hugged,
physically.
talked,
Yeah.
like, and we love that shit. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Have you ever had like anyone that like came up to you like as a fan and like got really like emotional, like they cried in that sense too, or not yet?
Not cried, but today was pretty sweet because she was like, so there was this girl, we were walking, where that was again?
Kensington.
Yeah, we in Kennsington, and this girl run up to us, and she was just like, she's like, yeah, I was just listening to y'all song, and right into y'all song in the park, and then I saw y'all, so I had to like run y'all down and say hi, and like she was like shaking a little bit, like how she was talking. And then I started to shake too, and then me and T was like, really? You just run? Like,
yeah,
over
she
here?
showed us her phone, like our song Tell Me No Lie was
like playing in her ears, like.
That's crazy, girl. What?
And we just came from a sound check. doing that. That was the last song that we did. Anyway, it was just a lot. A lot. But it was sweet because it was like a real, like it wasn't a bullshit, like, oh my god, I love you guys so much. No. Like, no, like she was genuinely like sitting out in the park, like had our song like on her phone playing, and then here we come walking by her on the street. We never met her before. We didn't even, like, we've never seen her before.
She heard of us through her friend, she said, so it's just...
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love that shit. These are the moments that we'll literally never forget.
Yeah.
So as far as, like, short-term and, like, long-term goals, do you guys have any for your music career right now?
I don't really live in, like, the goal, I feel like that's a tricky because like everybody have like, I guess their like overall like aspirations, but I really been feeling like more and more to like try to like forget all of that shit and just like focus on how I could make like right now the best fucking day right now. And I feel like that has been more fulfilling than me trying to plan, okay, 2 years from now I need to be in this place. Because what if 2 years from now I ain't in that place? Then I'm fucking disappointed in myself and I'm forgetting all of the other things that I've accomplished, but this one thing that I set my goal for, I miss it. So I don't really like to do that anymore. I'm just like, what we doing right now? Like, how can we do better than we did 2 seconds ago, yesterday? Yeah. We did 2 streams on this one. How about we get 10 streams on this next one? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's how we kind of been living, like, as the music, even the way the EP came about, like, we didn't necessarily plan that though this was gonna be our EP. Even we were just like, yeah, these songs, we've been bumping them like this for,
let's just drop them. People were like asking us for more music after we dropped Woyyy, and like we were just gonna drop them as singles. We said, fuck it, let's just give them the whole thing, and we're so happy we did. Honestly, we're really proud of that body of work. Yeah, you know, it's so fun. It's such a fun project. We love listening to it. You know, it makes us feel good, and that was our goal with it. So if it makes you feel good, shout out to you.
Most definitely. So as far as like creative processes go, so what's your creative process for writing your songs, and like what would a day in like making or recording music be like for you guys?
It'll usually be like, all right, so let's record. No, like, let's write. I feel like singing. It would be like, I feel like we live together, right? So it could be random. With like, feel like singing, and then we'll like throw on beats from wherever and just freestyle. Turn on our voice memos on our phone and just go crazy for like 2 hours, and then listen back to it the next morning and fuck with it all.
Yeah. You're like, let's see which ones we like, and then we end up liking all
everything.
of them.
We like everything. But there's obviously like some more standout songs, and we just decide like, yeah, we want to record it, and that's how all the songs from the EP kind of came together, was off those freestyles. And like we listen back to them and be like, yo, like I can't believe like this is like literally the first time we did this song, and like now it's a thing, and like song. Adding the background vocals and like you know, changing this and changing that. So it's a beautiful process, honestly. And we really just sit down and drink tea and smoke weed and talk shit. That's what we do. And sometimes a lot of our freestyles, we might be a little drunk, might be a little tipsy.
That's true.
You know,
that's when we talk the most shit.
A lot of the most of the shit talking is drunk shit talking. So yeah, it's just fun. It's not like there's no structure to it. We just really just vibe, and however that comes about, it comes about.
Yeah, most definitely. It aligns itself.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a person that I interviewed like a while back, Savannah Hannah, who was actually on Netflix's like Rhythm and Flow. So she talked about only having like green tea in the studio and all that, and just drinking it to be on her vocals, like to get like the best out of her performance, like when recording. So as far as like you guys, would you say like having stuff like drinking tea or having like incense in the room and like just like smoking weed and like having some licks, would you say like that's kind of like your vibe like when you're in the studio and all that?
For sure. All of that. Yeah. All of that. We really like to have our sessions private. Like we're not really heavy on like the entourage thing.
No.
You know,
it's people don't know how to act.
And then it gets weird, and then we're having to like try not to act like it's not weird, and then try and create in a weird space, and it's uncomfortable, and like people really prefer to have us unless it's like a set thing. Yeah, we're collaborating, we're here, we're doing this, but we have been in situations where like people are there, and we just gotta go with it, and it's been good, it's been bad, and you know, that's just you live and you learn, experience things.
Most definitely. So you guys have the debut EP, like Unethical Negros. You talked about this at your performance at the Casa place on King West, and then you also talked a little bit more about your single, like Woyyy. So I know that you already talked about like the process and like how the EP and the songs were formed. So, but tell me more about the inspiration for both the EP and the track. So what made you guys do that?
I don't know. Inspiration. Again, just like Black Joy. Like
I feel like, are you mean the songs in particular? You mean
like
the
whole
name
thing
of the project, like the project in itself?
I'd say for the inspiration, like what inspired you to make that EP as well as like that song in that sense?
Maybe we could like split it into parts. Okay, so what inspired us to name the project Unethical Negros? I feel like as we like described earlier, our name Unlisted Negros, like we realized there was like this, and still is this trend of like everybody like kind of like categorizing themselves for, you know, whatever reason, and understanding that's you know, helpful for some people. For me in particular, and T as well, like it got very it became very discouraging and like kind of overwhelming to consistently be expected to explain myself before I even get a chance to like settle in the room. Like I gotta tell you all of these X, Y's, and Z's about me before you even sit down and I even decide if I fuck with you or not. Like suppose I don't want you all in my business like that. Now you don't know all these different things about me just for the sake of like me being easier for you to consume. I don't want to be consumable, you know. And I feel like that's a place where Unlisted Negros came from. Like, if there's one thing I want to identify as, is Black. So the Negroes gonna have to be in there. But the unlisted part is like, you can't define anything else about me. The one thing we could be sure about, I could die Black, I live in Black, and that's it, that's all. Everything else is what I decide. So there's no definition for it. And then the play on that is like, okay, well, if you insist on me giving you explanation, let's cross out the unlisted and we're going to say unethical. Let's give you a word then to describe it a little bit better for you. And I feel like that's where that came about.
Yeah, when you break down just the track list from Pretty Pussy, Tell Me No Lie, Look Good, I Don't Think So, like all of those songs were just so strong, and Disrespectful Man, all of them. Those specific songs, up until That's How It Feels, because I feel like that's a whole different vibe. Like those 6 songs were just so like fuck off to a lot of things that I feel like people don't really get to talk about in songs in that kind of way. You know, worshiping.
But still in a soft, feminine, you know, like playful. Like I'll kill you. but then I'll like smile and like make my lips look like lipstick with your blood. Like,
yeah, like worship this pussy. You know what time the fuck it is. Like, you know, you could demand what you need to in the bedroom without being super aggressive.
yeah.
You know, like it's not every time. You know.
There's so many different things.
Yeah,
I feel like
there's a lot going on. So you definitely, you know, check that out for sure. And then That's How It Feels was like a super just vulnerable moment for both of us, where we were like just talking, and I was just like talking to Kay, and I was like, yo, that's how it feels sometimes, putting your heart on your line. And she was like, yo, that should be the hook. And I was like, all right, let's go. We sang it, wrote to it. A few minutes later, we're in the booth. Boom, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, just did that shit, and that song is like my favorite.
It's so in the fields.
Yeah, shout out to Meganomics and Line Vibrations, Malcolm. You know, he also produced a song for the beat for I Don't Think So. So yeah, just love.